The UK is not only famous for its haunted castles and historic sites, but also for its many eerie streets filled with ghostly legends. From shadowy figures and phantom footsteps to chilling whispers and mysterious apparitions, these streets hold some of the most spine-tingling paranormal stories. Whether in cities or quiet villages, the UK's roads are home to countless ghostly encounters that continue to intrigue and terrify visitors. Now we will visit the most haunted streets in the UK. Number 1. Mill Street in Macclesfield. Mill Street in Macclesfield is one of the most haunted streets in the UK, with a chilling history that continues to send shivers down the spines of those who walk its path. This historic street, once a bustling hub of industry and trade, has witnessed centuries of tragedy, unexplained deaths, and eerie occurrences that refuse to be forgotten. Many who visit or live nearby report feeling watched, as if unseen eyes are following their every move. Sudden drops in temperature, flickering lights, and mysterious whispers add to the unsettling atmosphere. One of the most terrifying stories tied to Mill Street is the ghost of a woman dressed in Victorian clothing, seen walking alone at night before vanishing into thin air. Some believe she was a mill worker who met a tragic end, her spirit forever trapped in the place where she once toiled. Strange figures have also been reported in the windows of old buildings, even when no one is inside. Shopkeepers tell tales of objects moving on their own, doors slamming shut without explanation, and an overwhelming sense of unease that lingers long after dark. A ghostly child's laughter has been heard echoing through the street, though no children are present. Some say it belongs to a young boy who died in a tragic accident during Macclesfield's industrial era. Others have spotted shadowy figures darting between alleyways, appearing and disappearing in an instant. Those brave enough to explore the street late at night often report hearing footsteps behind them, only to turn around and find no one there. Mill Street's haunted reputation continues to grow, drawing in paranormal investigators and thrill-seekers eager to experience its supernatural presence for themselves. Number 2. St. Giles High Street in London. St. Giles High Street in London is one of the most haunted streets in the UK, with a dark history of plague, crime, and death that has left behind restless spirits. Once a place of suffering and misery, it was home to the infamous St. Giles Rookery, a slum filled with poverty, disease, and violent crime. Many believe the souls of those who suffered here still linger, unable to find peace. Shadows move without explanation, eerie whispers fill the air, and sudden cold spots send shivers down the spines of those who walk these streets at night. During the Great Plague of London, St. Giles was one of the worst affected areas. The sick were taken to plague pits, many still alive when buried. Their tortured spirits are said to haunt the area, with reports of ghostly hands reaching out and faint cries for help heard in the dead of night. Some witnesses claim to see shadowy figures stumbling through the streets, resembling plague victims desperately trying to escape their fate. The churchyard of St. Giles in the Fields adds to the eerie atmosphere, as ghostly apparitions have been seen wandering among the graves. The execution of criminals was once a common sight here, with Tyburn gallows nearby. The spirits of those hanged are said to walk the street, seeking justice for their fate. A dark figure, dressed in old-fashioned clothing, has been seen lurking near the church, disappearing when approached. Others have reported feeling unseen hands brushing against them, as if the spirits of the past are still present. Strange lights, unexplained noises, and the overwhelming feeling of being watched make St. Giles High Street one of London's most haunted locations, where history and the supernatural collide in chilling ways. Number 3. Market Street in Manchester. Market Street in Manchester is one of the most haunted streets in the UK, with a dark and eerie history that continues to send chills down the spines of visitors and locals alike. Once a bustling hub of commerce, the street has witnessed centuries of tragedy, crime, and unexplained occurrences that have left behind restless spirits. Strange lights, sudden cold spots, and the overwhelming feeling of being watched have all been reported, making it a hotspot for paranormal activity. One of the most famous ghostly figures is that of a Victorian-era woman, dressed in dark clothing, who appears in shop windows before vanishing without a trace. Some believe she was a market trader who suffered a tragic fate, her spirit forever lingering in the place where she once worked. Staff members in shops along Market Street have reported objects moving on their own, eerie whispers in empty stockrooms, and the sensation of an unseen presence standing nearby. There are also stories of a mysterious figure dressed in a long coat and hat, seen walking the street late at night before disappearing into thin air. Some believe he was a thief or a lost soul from Manchester's darker past. The ghostly sound of horses' hooves on cobblestones has been heard, even though the street has long been paved over, suggesting echoes of the past still remain. Unexplained footsteps follow people down alleyways, only for them to turn around and find no one there. Those who visit Market Street after dark often leave with an unsettling feeling, as if something unseen is lurking just out of sight. Whether it's the spirits of former traders, lost souls, or echoes of history, Market Street's haunted reputation continues to grow. Number 4. Kinnerton Street in Belgravia. Kinnerton Street in Belgravia is one of the most haunted streets in the UK, hiding eerie secrets behind its elegant facades. Despite its picturesque charm, this quiet street has a dark past filled with ghostly encounters, unexplained whispers, and shadowy figures that seem to watch from the corners of dimly lit alleys. Visitors and locals have reported strange happenings, from sudden temperature drops to mysterious footsteps echoing through the night, making this street a hotspot for paranormal activity. One of the most chilling stories is that of a spectral figure seen gliding past the old mews houses. Described as a tall man in Victorian attire, he appears only for a moment before disappearing into thin air. Some believe he was a former resident who met an untimely end, while others say he is the ghost of a carriage driver still making his rounds in the afterlife. The sound of phantom hooves and carriage wheels rolling over cobblestones has been reported, even though the street has long been modernized. Another well-known tale involves the eerie presence of a woman in a long black dress who appears near certain doorways late at night. Witnesses claim she lets out a soft sigh before fading away, leaving behind an unshakable sense of sorrow. The origins of her spirit remain a mystery, but some speculate she was a heartbroken lover or a victim of past misfortune. Lights flicker, doors creak open on their own, and an unsettling stillness often fills the air. Those who walk Kinnerton Street after dark often leave with a lingering sense of unease, as if unseen eyes are following their every move, making it one of the most haunted locations in London. Number 5. Old Elvet in Durham. Old Elvet in Durham is known as one of the most haunted streets in the UK, filled with chilling ghost stories and eerie occurrences that have left locals and visitors alike in fear. This ancient street, which dates back to medieval times, has seen its fair share of tragedy and turmoil, and many believe that the spirits of those long past still haunt the area. The narrow cobbled street, lined with historic buildings and the looming presence of Durham Castle, holds a sinister reputation for paranormal activity. One of the most famous ghostly tales is that of a spectral monk seen walking along the street at night, his robes rustling as he glides silently past. It is believed that he is a former resident of nearby Durham Cathedral, where monks once lived and worked in isolation. His apparition is often reported by those who walk along Old Elvet at night, and some claim they feel a cold presence or hear faint chanting in the air. Another ghostly figure said to haunt Old Elvet is that of a young woman. She is often seen near the old buildings, particularly around the site of the former Durham jail, where many prisoners met a grim fate. Witnesses have reported seeing her fade in and out of sight, and some have felt an overwhelming sadness when near her. The sound of chains dragging along the street has also been heard, thought to be the spirits of prisoners or those who suffered in the dark history of the area. Whether it's the whisper of the monk, the sorrowful figure of the woman, or the eerie noises in the night, Old Elvet continues to be a place where the past lingers, leaving behind a trail of restless souls. Number 6. Old Bailey in London. Old Bailey in London is one of the most haunted streets in the UK, steeped in a dark and chilling history that refuses to be forgotten. As the site of London's central criminal court, this street has witnessed centuries of trials, executions, and the desperate cries of those condemned to death. The echoes of these past horrors still linger, with many visitors reporting eerie sensations, ghostly whispers, and shadowy figures appearing along the street, only to vanish without a trace. One of the most infamous spirits said to haunt Old Bailey is that of a wrongly convicted man seen pacing outside the courthouse in ragged clothing. Some believe he was hanged for a crime he didn't commit, his restless spirit unable to find peace. Witnesses describe hearing muffled cries and footsteps that follow them, yet no one is there when they turn around. Another terrifying presence is that of a headless figure, believed to be the ghost of an execution victim from the days when public hangings were common. On misty nights, some claim to see a dark shape lurking near the old execution sites, disappearing just as suddenly as it appears. Others have reported feeling an icy grip on their shoulder, as if an unseen force is trying to hold them in place. Even within the court itself, strange occurrences persist. Courtrooms have been plagued by flickering lights, sudden cold drafts, and unexplained noises. Some claim to have seen ghostly figures sitting silently in the gallery, watching trials from beyond the grave. Whether it's the spirits of the condemned, the echoes of old injustices, or the shadows of London's grim past, Old Bailey remains a place where the supernatural and history intertwine in the most unsettling way. Number 7. The Shambles in York. The Shambles in York is one of the most haunted streets in the UK, a place where history lingers in every shadowy corner. This medieval street, with its overhanging timber-framed buildings and narrow cobbled lanes, has an eerie atmosphere that only intensifies after dark. Once home to butchers, the street has witnessed centuries of suffering, violence, and unexplained events, leaving behind spirits that refuse to rest. Visitors often report cold spots, ghostly whispers, and the unsettling feeling of being watched, even when the street appears empty. One of the most well-known ghostly figures is that of a woman dressed in Tudor-era clothing, seen walking along the street before vanishing into thin air. Some believe she was a shopkeeper from centuries past, forever lingering near her former business. Others have encountered shadowy figures darting between doorways, only to disappear when approached. Strange lights flicker in shop windows, objects move on their own, and heavy footsteps echo on the cobbles when no one is there. The Golden Fleece, one of the most haunted pubs in York, sits just off the Shambles and is said to be home to several restless spirits. A ghostly figure known as Lady Alice Peckett has been seen walking through the pub and onto the street outside, as if she still roams the area she once knew. The sound of a child's laughter has been heard in the dead of night, yet no child is ever seen. Some claim to feel an invisible hand brushing against them as they walk past ancient doorways. With its long history, eerie sightings, and chilling atmosphere, the Shambles remains one of the most mysterious and haunted streets in England, where echoes of the past refuse to fade. Number 8. Cock Lane. Cock Lane in London is one of the most haunted streets in the UK, infamous for ghostly encounters and chilling legends that have persisted for centuries. Nestled near Smithfield Market, this narrow street is best known for the eerie tale of the Cock Lane ghost, a haunting that terrified 18th century London and remains one of the city's most famous supernatural cases. Even today, visitors report strange noises, flickering lights, and the unsettling feeling of being watched as they walk through this historic passage. The most famous spirit associated with Cock Lane is that of Fanny Lines, a woman who died under mysterious circumstances in the 1760s. It was believed that her ghost returned to seek justice, making her presence known through eerie knocks, disembodied voices, and chilling apparitions. At the time, her alleged haunting drew massive crowds, with people desperate to witness the paranormal activity firsthand. Although some later dismissed it as a hoax, many still believe that her restless spirit lingers in the shadows of Cock Lane. Other eerie encounters on the street include shadowy figures darting across alleyways and strange whispering sounds heard in the dead of night. Some visitors have reported sudden cold spots, as if an unseen presence is passing through. Others claim to hear the faint sound of knocking, similar to the spectral knocks that once terrified Londoners centuries ago. Even with its modern appearance, Cock Lane carries an eerie atmosphere that refuses to fade. Whether it is the lingering spirit of fanny lines or the echoes of London's darker past, this street remains a chilling reminder that some ghosts never truly rest, making it one of the most haunted locations in the city. Number 9. Steep Hill in Lincoln. Steep Hill in Lincoln is one of the most haunted streets in the UK, a place where history and the supernatural collide. This ancient, cobbled street, lined with medieval buildings, has seen centuries of life, death, and tragedy, leaving behind eerie echoes of the past. Visitors often report ghostly apparitions, chilling whispers, and an overwhelming sense of being watched as they make their way up or down its steep incline. One of the most well-known ghosts is that of a Roman soldier, often seen marching up steep hill as if he is still on patrol. Some witnesses have only seen his upper body, as if the modern road lies above the original Roman path. The sight of this phantom figure, dressed in full military gear, has left many startled, only for him to vanish before their eyes. Another chilling tale comes from a historic shop along the street, where staff have reported objects moving on their own, doors opening and closing without explanation, and an eerie presence felt late at night. Some believe it is the spirit of a former shopkeeper still tending to their business from beyond the grave. The nearby Jew's house, one of the oldest surviving medieval houses in England, is also said to be haunted. Visitors have heard ghostly footsteps, disembodied voices, and even seen shadowy figures moving through its rooms. Some say the spirits belong to those who suffered during Lincoln's dark medieval history. Many who walk steep hill after dark report hearing the sound of unseen footsteps following them, only to turn around and find no one there. Whether it's the Roman soldier, lingering shopkeepers, or lost souls of the past, Steep Hill remains one of Lincoln's most haunted locations, where the past never truly fades away. Number 10. Queen's Lane in Oxford. Queen's Lane in Oxford is one of the most haunted streets in the UK, steeped in centuries of eerie legends and ghostly encounters. This narrow, winding lane, surrounded by ancient colleges and towering stone walls, carries an atmosphere thick with mystery. As one of Oxford's oldest streets, it has witnessed centuries of scholars, monks, and townsfolk, many of whom are said to have never truly left. Visitors often report hearing ghostly whispers, feeling sudden cold chills, and even seeing shadowy figures moving silently through the misty air. One of the most well-known spirits haunting Queen's Lane is that of a spectral monk, often seen drifting along the street in the dead of night. Cloaked in a dark robe with a hood covering his face, he is said to be a remnant of Oxford's religious past, possibly a lost soul who met a tragic fate centuries ago. Some who have encountered him describe an overwhelming sense of unease before he disappears into thin air. Another chilling tale is that of a ghostly figure seen standing near St. Edmund Hall, one of Oxford's oldest colleges. This figure, believed to be a former student or professor, has been spotted late at night, gazing down Queen's Lane before slowly fading away. Witnesses have reported feeling an unseen presence nearby, as if something or someone is watching them from the shadows. Footsteps echo along the cobbled street when no one is there, and some visitors claim to hear faint whispers in Latin, possibly lingering voices from Oxford's distant past. Whether it's the monk, the mysterious scholar, or the countless other spirits said to walk Queen's Lane, this ancient street remains one of the most haunted and unsettling locations in the city.